with this game. As mentioned in my Crash Bandicoot Trilogy video, this was my first Crash game ever. What a way to be introduced to the marsupial, huh? I didn't like this game, like, at all. So let's take a second look at Crash Mind Over Mutant. After an intro with a groin joke that was written by a 7-year-old, we're on the title screen. Might as well start from a new file. The first actual cutscene begins and what is this style supposed to be? In fact, the cutscene's art style is never consistent. Whatever this is, puppets, gritty superhero, chibi, South Park. Why South Park? Is it because a Kenny figure is seen during the making of video for Crash 3 Warped? Maybe, but that's really stretching it. Although I will give them this, some of them can actually be pretty funny, and Embryo is the best character. But back to the story recap. Cortex and Dr. Embryo reconcile and put aside their differences. Recently, Dr. Embryo has invented the NV, a virtual reality headset powered by Bad Mojo.
What's wrong? Crikey! I've lost my mojo!
Transforming the user into an empty-headed creature. Cortex takes advantage for not only mass-producing it, but also sending out to every door of Wampa Island residents. Free of charge? I thought you wanted the money, Cortex. Make up your mind. And then you're thrown in the game, just like that. With permission of talking to Coco. But before that, I'll need to explain the general change in gameplay from the other Crash games. This and Crash of the Titans were made into a platformer beat-em-up where Crash has different moves. You can still spin, but that's not his primary attack anymore. Those are now the punches and kicks. And okay, I'll bite. This design of Crash isn't that bad, even if it's a little different from the one in Crash of Titans. It's not the legs that bother me, it's not the hands that have drumsticks for thumbs either. No, for me it's the fact that the eyes look sunken in. Just, doesn't look right on Crash. But eventually we talk to Coco and she tells us to get different parts for the thing Coco is trying to fix. This is pretty much this game's way of showing us that this game is open world and also mission based. Okay. When you manage to collect all the parts, another problem comes in. Backtracking. It's usually boring, painful, and one of the things that kept me from fully enjoying Crash 2. You'll be doing a lot of that in this game. You give the parts to Coco, and after we're shown a commercial for the NV, I'm honestly more interested in the next you can. Coco and Crunch are easily won over by that commercial, as we possibly get the shortest and weirdest mission of all time to get the package. Wow, that's like one step closer to mowing the lawn, the video game. As you'd expect, Crunch and Coco end up hypnotized, while the one for Crash doesn't seem to function, and for Aku, I mean, I don't know how a mask can wear a helmet, and neither did the game, so that's his excuse. After a failed attack from Engine's minions, we soon end up following him, and this is when we're introduced to the Titans, where you can jack them and dodging their oncoming attacks. There are a lot of these Titans and each of them vary in terms of their attacks. Honestly though, they feel more like a way to give Crash more moves without giving him more moves. So you finally catch up with Embryo, no wait, that's actually Engine, who then has his guards escort us out. only for us to kill them, so what was the point? So he gives up and lets us the tense go thingy. Oh hey look, Crunch and Coco are turning into monsters. Those rascals. So we quickly go back. Crunch escapes but we're blocked off by Coco. Don't you just hate it when your sister blocks you from your goal? The fight, in all honesty, isn't that hard. You just hit balls back at her. Sometimes you defeat an enemy, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Defeating her turns her back to normal. She then actually helps out. That's cool. Fun fact, if you're playing co-op, this is the part where the second player can actually play as Coco for the rest of the game. Now that's great. Before this, the second player just had a second crash. We see Uka Uka for the first time in the cutscene after that, and now I admit his design is pretty cool. Doesn't really fit Uka Uka though, but at least we got another funny moment from Embryo.
Yes, it is I, Embryo! My name sounds like fetus.
Seeing as how the envy helmet needs to be stopped from the source, Coco suggests getting help from Nina. Yeah, remember her? Anyway, she suggests Nina to the shock of Aku Aku and Crash, but they go along with the plan anyway, so what's the fuss? However, we don't directly go to her, instead we look for information about her. Starting off in the Ice Kingdom, there's this one platform that you gotta slowly traverse through, kinda like a game of Buzzwire, but it's honestly not that hard to get through, and they only make you do it like once. There's this one part where you freeze the water to make a path. That sounds really cool. It sucks that they don't really have you do this a lot, but I mean, hey, you can surf with your Titan. That's also great. You do it the same amount of times though. We're also introduced to climbing, and whoa, wait, isn't that just how Nathan Drake climbs things but faster? But at least we get a new Titan. Hey, you know what? Why not go all the way? Why not include the goddamn Thriller song? What I like is the fact that you can keep a Titan. Once you get a new one, you don't immediately throw away the old one. You can still keep it. You only get to keep one at a time though. And that's why you're using the other one. But where can you go from Ice Kingdom in terms of themes? The answer is simple. To the desert. Okay, now I'm actually wondering if they used Uncharted as inspiration for the themes here. But here you meet this new Titan, a big gorilla scorpion abomination that's really slow but can block the incoming balls without any damage. That, and he has a really cool design. But then another new Titan shows up and we immediately toss him aside for that one. This one might actually be my favorite. He may not be the strongest, but he can get around to places really fast, and that can be really nifty, especially in this game since you're going places in this game. Honestly, my only problem with this Titan is the fact that he can be really slippery, and as you'll quickly find out, that's not a good thing. This game really loves testing you in terms of balance by throwing at you a bunch of skinny platforms that are on top of a bottomless pit. But after screwing around in the desert, you eventually finally go to the evil public school. Why we didn't just go there to begin with is beyond me. In this level, there's a lot more of those orange things that you use to open gates by spinning, but you gotta be quick on your toes because the gate will close. Again, it's not that hard, and after running away from the spike of doom, oh, I'm sorry, the spike of doom, we meet up with Nina. She's bummed out that her life is ruined, quotation mark, because of Crash. I'm assuming she's talking about Crash of the Titans, but I haven't played that. And honestly, I don't care about that game. But after an attempt to kick them out and a willingness to do anything, she takes advantage of that.
Kiss right now. It will amuse me. Losers.
Besides it seeming like they forgot that Crash wore Aku like a mask before, it doesn't go well. And then we have a mission of protecting Nina's project. This stage was actually way more harder than it deserved to be. You see, the missiles are like tiny nukes. They go fast and they hit hard, but eventually you manage. And what the hell happened to her design? Why does she look like that? Anyways, she reveals that she doesn't actually know Bolshevik and claims that Embryo actually built it. But luckily, her science project tells us where Embryo is. Turns out he's on the other side of the island. She even wishes us good luck. Back at Crash's home, enemies are waiting for a basing, and that's exactly what they got. Man, I'm realizing you sure do a lot of combat, and there's never really a lot of variety. It really gets stale. But you go from there to the desert, and from the desert to the junkyard. There's a really great cutscene about Embryo being as entertaining as ever, talking about his frustrations against Cortex stealing his ideas, but also Crash saving the day, as usual. The junkyard level is pretty much the same thing we've been doing for a while, platforming and fighting. In fact, it might even be shorter than usual. But the new Titan here is a sludge monster. Okay. But anyway, you fight Crunch, who somehow gained a little bit of control, but not much. It's never explained how he can talk during this, seeing as Coco couldn't talk during the same helmet. So you know the engine fight from Crash 2? Well, imagine that, but instead of Wumpa Fruits to throw out a robot, you use TNT to destroy the bridge. And then the fight becomes different from the one in Crash 2 because you can pick up Crunch and just throw him into the spike, which is what you're supposed to do. But you save Crunch. Crash likes torturing Crunch apparently. And then Embryo... Wait, no, come back! No, come back! Please, no!
There's no reason for me to live! No reason at all!
After that travesty, we soon end up going to Mount Grimly. Meanwhile...
Mojo battery doing? Cortex, you miserable traitor!
Mount Grimly, a dark and spooky stereotypical cave. A new Titan swoops in and... God, what is that? You'd think with the levels being set in a cave, they'd want it to look more bat-like. But instead, it's more like a werewolf with really long arms. So what it ends up being is you slapping a bunch of other ones. My god, spinning into them is looking a lot more cooler than slapping. And then another Titan shows up, this time a ghost. Okay, is it bad to just focus on one titan at a time? You're giving me too much choice. Anyway, the ghost can slow down time, but it has a time limit. This could be rather interesting, but they don't do much with this. At the end of the level, we find this big titan that we can use to destroy the mojo. The new titan itself is just another big strong titan. So after you free Uka Uka from being used to satisfy Cortex's feathers, Uka Uka will help us unless we help him by getting back his bones. You know what that means. Okay, I'll cut the bullcrap for this part. This is a long and stretched out fetch quest. You know what that means, a lot of backtracking, and this is easily the worst part. It's almost as if they tried to artificially lengthen the game by making you revisit all of the places you just went through another time. It's like how Ghosts and Goblins makes you play that game twice just to make it longer. It's really not fun. After a series of hallways and corridors and enemy gallery, we then face off Cortex, who drinks a potion that makes him super buff, and the final boss begins. Are we sure Cortex has an IQ of over 100? Cortex whines and complains, and also escapes. His space thing crashes down to Earth, but he will survive. Also, are we just never gonna get an answer as to why Crash is super buff? No? Credits. And that was Crash Mind Over Mutant. Yeah, I still don't really like this one. Not only is it boring, but it's also repetitive. The cutscenes are really nice, but you can just check them out on YouTube. And the co-op is really fun, but there are other better games like Rayman 2 and 3. It has also come to my attention that there's actually a minority that really likes this game. So what I have to say to that is, if you manage to find this game fun, good for you. I'm really happy for you. We all have different opinions, and some can find beauty in things most can't. With that being said though, this is it for me, sadly. See you guys next time.